Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Star Wars Shatterpoint rules are now available. We're going to talk about them in today's video, and we'll kind of scroll through some of the more interesting points. This is going to be a really great way for you to get caught up on the rules, and as well as if you've seen the demos and haven't gotten a chance to play yet and wanted to kind of run through the rules, or maybe you did play the demos but that left certain questions like, wait a second, what happens on the next turn, or if this situation would have happened, could I combo this with this? Of course, you're going to have all of the core rules here. Now, this probably won't answer every single question you might have. Rulebooks usually don't cover every possible nuanced rule, but they usually do a pretty good job of giving you like 98% of everything you're going to need to know. So this is going to be awesome. A great way for you to also hit the ground running if you're pre-ordering the core set and wanting to play like on launch day, or as soon as you can assemble your minis and get some test games in right away. You might even be able to get some proxy games in with some Legion miniatures or certain other, the bases won't be the same size, but it might give you an idea, at least a way to kind of practice up on some gameplay. I know a lot of folks like to do stuff like that. I have done that before as well. Pretty cool to have the rules available. If you're interested in Shatterpoint, also we are giving away a Star Wars Shatterpoint core set in the form of a $165 Amazon gift card. If you want to have a chance to enter to win that, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. I want to know what some of your favorite Star Wars tabletop games. Let me know what you guys think about that. Also, these rules, if you've had a chance to read through them yet, let me know some of your thoughts down in the comments section. And while you're there, too, keep the discussion going. You can join our Discord. There's links in the description below. There'll also be a link to these rules in the description below. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into these rules. We have our core set here. Now, this comes out June 2nd, folks. That is also when that giveaway winner is going to be announced that first week of June. So stay tuned for that. I typically announce winners at the end of my videos, so kind of incentivizes you to watch all the way through to the end because I think my content is worth watching, and hopefully you do too. But it also helps reach more people. That's kind of how I do stuff. The YouTube algorithm says that if you watch all the way to the end, that it must mean that they should show this video to more people. And then, of course, we get more people into the Star Wars gaming hobby, and it's just this whole cyclical cycle of getting more gamers, into the hobby. So that's certainly a great thing. I'm going to kind of blow this up a little bit more. We've got our credits page. We've got a Shatterpoint, kind of a yellow crawl, a great way to kind of start things out, which is super cool. And we have a table of contents. So this is going to be your main page that you want to use. Anything that you're looking for in particular, whether you've played the demo already or you're returning to this book, you're like, all right, what happens about dice modification again? How does that work? Okay, let's go to dice. That should be about page 31. It'll talk all about that there. Or how about when we're setting up the game, or page 17, that's where game setup is. Okay, let's talk about that there. You've got these little Ahsoka snippets. These are cute. They're a little helpful little like pop-up video. Do you remember? Maybe I'm dating myself a little bit here. We used to have this thing called pop-up video. We'd have these little things that would show up on a music video, and they'd be like, "Did you know that when they were filming this, something, something, something?" We've got a content list, so this is going to be good to give you the names of all of the different tokens. You don't need names for the movement and range tools and the order cards, but maybe your objective tokens, your force tokens, your control tokens. We got strained and exposed, disarmed and pinned, hunker tokens, injured and wounded, priority objective tokens, your damage tokens, and your momentum tokens and struggle tokens as well. Speaking of tokens, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens that are compatible with a variety of different games like Star Wars Legion, Star Wars X-Wing, Magic the Gathering, Arkham Horror, Keyforge. You check them out. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Amazing. They're double-sided. They're metallic. They're gorgeous. And I think you're going to love them. While you're there, if you decide you want to pick something up, use code Crabbok VIP to save 15%. They make great gifts, great ways to treat yourself, great birthday, holiday gifts, and great tournament prize support as well. So let your stores know and let them know about that code. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. You're going to love them. All right, so we also have the game overview, key concepts, kind of a lot of just good starting point information. Now, there's some pretty interesting stuff in here that I thought was pretty cool. Let me scroll down a little bit more because they're going to talk about the struggle tracker, the objective tokens. I'm not going to read all of the rules to you here. I'm going to let you guys do that mostly on your own. But as I was kind of just perusing through it beforehand, I like the the clarification of all the different types of abilities that they have there, the reactive abilities, the active abilities, the innate, tactics, and identities. These have been talked about a little bit in some of the articles. So if you have been keeping up with all of the articles and all of the information that's come out, some of this may be stuff you already know. But maybe you've forgotten some of it, or you wanted a quick reference to all of it. That's what the rulebook is going to help you do. The stance cards are also covered here, and the combat trees, and how you can switch stances. We got some great artwork thrown in here as well, which is very cool. The anatomy of a stance card, so you've got all of your different your card up here, and then you have all the different, like the lexicon of what each section means. An interesting thing here I thought was pretty cool is how, explanations of how expertise work. Those, of course, they're going to be those diamond-like symbols. They give a really cool example here. And another thing that is pretty cool, they talk about this little symbol here, which I thought was pretty cool, like in Ahsoka's defensive expertise. She can turn a critical into a hit. Which is cool because normally criticals can't be canceled. So Ahsoka with acrobatics actually can cancel a single critical, which is pretty cool. But it's nice having those symbols identified, and you're going to be able to get all those symbols that you're like, does this actually mean movement, or does this mean dash, or what does this mean? Those are all in here, and the last page, which we're going to get to, has a pretty cool, just a whole list of everything, which is very cool. So we have certain stacking effects, a lot of use case examples as well, which are really cool. It talks about the shove tool and also the movement tools here as well. We've got our force abilities. It's talking about, this is, I guess maybe my biggest question with the game is like going with force as a term instead of like command points or whatever, because, or destiny even, when it might have been a better token name for these, but calling it the Force implies that like Force-sensitive characters use it, and that you can have no Force users in your entire list. You're still going to have Force points. So it's just a. I feel like that was something they probably needed to do to keep it more on theme, to keep the game more on theme, even though you're not always going to have Force users in all of your builds. Although I'll probably have Force users in all of my builds, so it's always going to work for me. So that's pretty interesting. They do talk about the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War era. And so they were talking about the squad building rules, talking about different eras. Those are the two eras that are confirmed right now, but there's definitely a door open for a lot more eras. I was kind of hoping to see if they would have said like other examples, like the sequel trilogy era, or the High Republic era, or the Old Republic era, or all kinds of cool stuff like that. Would have been pretty cool. They do talk about how to set up the battlefield and putting tokens on top of terrain. So you put your tokens out first, then you build the battlefield, and then the tokens kind of rise up and they'll be on top of terrain, because you're going to want to encourage people to take the high ground, which is already going to be good for you anyway. So that's pretty cool that's outlined. They talk about momentum and struggle and all of the other stuff, game mechanics, and then you have a kind of a nice kind of flow chart. What page is this? 21 of the course of like how a game is played. This is going to be a power page for you, so definitely read over this page 21. We have a couple of different things that they can do. Oh, all of the different actions that you can do, right? Move, focus, combat action, abilities, recover, which is really nice to be able to do. I think recover is going to be a more important action than we think right now. Like because of the fact that if somebody gets wounded, it's like at the end of their, or like if you take a whole bunch of damage, you have a chance for other people to heal you before that becomes a wounded state that you'll be in. So I thought that was really cool. There is some talk about Shatterpoint cards. I want to go down to this as well. They talk about the different types of movement. Let me get to that first. So advance is the solid line. Climb is like a J almost, where it goes up and then straight up. Dash is the dotted arrow. And then you have jump. Jump is the little ring with the arrow coming out of it. And then it talks about push or pull. So that's nice. They give you some examples. I like the fact that there's picture examples in here too. So you can, there's examples of, somebody using force push. There's examples of advances. and climbs and all of that. Advanced, dash, climb, jump, push, and pull explained in more detail there. Here's even an example of somebody using the, right over here, the example of them using the shove tool, which is not exactly how I thought the shove tool was going to work. That one is more diagonal, which is I thought it was going to be like going up, and it's more of a sideways tool, it looks like here. So I thought that was interesting. A lot of like the pushing people away rules are very similar. This is similar to how Marvel Crisis Protocol does it. A lot of the movement is going to be kind of similar to Marvel Crisis Protocol. So I thought that was interesting. Not the same, but it definitely has similarities. All right, they talk about, and then we get to page 29. It's all about attacks. It's going to go about how attacks work, attack dice, defense dice. Most of this stuff is stuff, if you played the demo, you'll probably know this already. A nice lexicon right here of all of the symbols that are going to be on the combat trees. So when you're doing damage, all those hits that you have, all those successes are going to trigger symbols in your combat tree that look like these symbols here. You got damage, shove, strained, disarmed, exposed, and pinned. And the rules for all of those conditions are also in here too, a couple of pages down. And then, of course, you have more of the personal effect icons over here. You have the advance, climb, dash, jump, reposition, heal, and active abilities, which is pretty cool. And I believe we're almost at the page. Damaging units, becoming wounded, and becoming injured, and becoming defeated. Those are all going to be important things. So, so as soon as you get enough damage to do your thing, it becomes wounded. And injured is I misspoke before. Injured is the condition that is actually going to be kind of rough. And you remove one condition too when you become injured. So I thought that was a really cool thing. It's a little different. Like I know in Marvel Crisis Protocol, when you get kind of wounded and you flip your card over, you get rid of all of that stuff. You get rid of everything except for your power. And in this one, you only get rid of one. So if you're if you're on fire and you're burning, and maybe all the flames don't go out, just one of them. Here they talk about strained, disarmed, exposed, and pinned. When a character when somebody's strained, when they advance, climb, dash, or jump, when a character in this unit advances, climbs, dashes, jumps, or when this unit makes an action or uses an active or reactive ability, after the effect is resolved, the unit suffers 3 damage and then loses the strained condition. That one's nasty. Now, it looked like it was blood, like 2 blood drops. I guess it's almost like they're bleeding, I guess. Maybe they didn't want to call it bleeding. My guess is, I would guess that at some point this was initially called bleeding, and they said, hold on a second, this is a game that we want to be kid-friendly also. Maybe that's a little too PG-13. So let's call it strained. I'm like, okay, we can still call it bleeding. Right? Disarmed, while a character in this unit cannot use expertise results. The next time a character in this unit makes an attack roll, remove any attack dice with attack expertise results from the roll before modifying the dice rolls. After determining results, the unit loses the disarmed condition. So that's nasty for a couple of reasons. Not only can you not spend the disarmed or the expertise dice on your expertise tree, the dice are removed, which means even if you had like re-roll capability, you wouldn't be able before you modify them. So disarmed is really nasty. Exposed says when defending characters in this unit cannot use the defensive expertise, they cannot use the defensive expertise result, so similar to disarmed, which is offensive expertise. And it's going to be the same thing, right? Remove any defense dice with the expertise symbol. Yeah. So they're basically disarmed and exposed are the same thing, but disarmed is for your D8s or your attack dice, exposed is for your D6s or your defense dice. And then you have pinned, which is the arrow with the slash through it. It's like a broken movement. The next time a character in this unit would advance, dash, climb, jump, either one of those, it does not move. Then it loses the pinned condition, so they can't move. Or if they really want to move, they're going to have to do 2 actions to try to break out of that pinned, which is pretty cool. So I like that. I like that. It talks about terrain, talks about elevation, so you can read all of your terrain rules and line of sight. It talks about hunker tokens too. This was one they used in the demos a little bit. I believe this gives you an extra defense die when you're units. So let's see here. A character benefiting from cover also adds a number of defensive dice equal to their cover value. For the character to gain cover from a terrain feature, they must meet all of the following requirements. That's cover. Okay, where are we getting to hunker tokens here? Because I wanted to talk about this one. Units can also gain cover from hunker tokens. Each hunker token a unit has grants its characters in that unit cover 1. A unit loses all of its hunker tokens at the start of its activation or when a character in that unit becomes engaged. A unit that is engaged cannot have hunker tokens. So that's pretty interesting. The timing thing, this is an appendix. So we're getting past the basics rules and a little bit into the more advanced rules. So this is going to clarify your attack timing steps, because sometimes it'll be like, wait, does this happen first or does that happen first? So you can refer to Appendix A for that. Activating a unit. Your keywords here are in Appendix B: immunity, impact, protection, scale, sharpshooter, and steadfast. And then the last page here, I love the quick reference guide. Your turn sequence, all of your icons, what all those icons mean, because how many times are you gonna, until you get like your 6th game in, you're gonna be looking at these. I'm like, all right, wait, what does this one mean again? Is this because shove and dash are very similar, aren't they? You know, so like little things like that are going to really help you when you're looking at these, the dice faces and the attack sequence. And that's the last page. It looks like this is the back of the book too. So the cool thing about this is when you actually get your core set, you can just flip the rule book over, and then you have, you know, a big, you know, rule book sized quick reference sheet that both players can refer to. So I love it when this is on the back of a book. A lot of games will do this, and it's a great thing. There's a reason a lot of games do this, because this is excellent and it's extremely helpful. So yeah, so that's the rule book, guys. You should definitely check it out, read it in a little more detail. It looks pretty cool. I'm excited to try out Shatterpoint when it's coming out June 2nd, so you can get your pre-orders in. I mean, you've seen gameplay now. You've got the rules. I think a lot of the initial, why would I pre-order this when I haven't seen it played yet? I think a lot of those concerns have kind of evaporated. Now people have seen some of the gameplay. They can read over the rules and maybe make a more informed decision about the future of your gaming tables. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel all possible. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. And so say we all.